Trafford because we do have some breaking news for you regarding Benjamin Sesko. And you've got it for us, haven't you, Daniel Khan?
Absolutely, Hayley. The news we've been waiting for. Manchester United have announced the signing of Slovenia striker Benjamin Sesko on a 5-year deal until June 2030, subject to registration. And we've been telling you throughout this week, a deal agreed with RB Leipzig for around just over £73 million. And I mean, I have some quotes just to go through here from Sesko himself after finally signing that contract. Hayley, he says the history of Manchester United is obviously very special, but what really excites me is the future. When we discussed this project, it was clear that everything is in place for this team to continue to grow and compete for the biggest trophies again soon. From the moment that I arrived, I could feel the positive energy, family environment that the club has created is clearly the perfect place to reach my maximum level and fulfill all of my ambitions. I cannot wait to start learning from Ruben and connecting with my teammates to achieve the success that we all know we are capable of together. And just to tell you a few quotes from the director of football, Jason Wilcox, Hayley, as well. He says, Benjamin possesses a rare combination of electrifying pace and the ability to physically dominate defenders, making him one of the most exceptional young talents in world football. We have followed Benjamin's career closely, and all of our data analysis and research concluded that he has the required qualities and personality to thrive as a Manchester United player. And I think, Hayley, just hearing from Jason Wilcox there, I think him, Christopher Vivell, the director of recruitment, will be really pleased with this move. They didn't end up in a tug of war for Sesko's signature with Newcastle United over a week until their season begins against Arsenal. They now have a new weapon in their attacking armoury for Ruben Amorim to really play with this season in this new look attack, completely different to last season. Now Sesko is officially through the door, joining the likes of Bryan Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha, and now this United side who struggled with goals last season now have this new look attack to really attack this season with, and I think United, as I mentioned, will be really pleased with it. They already said that they'll be unveiling their new signings today, the likes of Mbeumo, Cunha, Diego Leon, to the Old Trafford faithful when they take on Fiorentina this lunchtime, and I'd very much expect Sesko to get his own unveiling to the United fans as well.
Yeah, I just want to ask you as well, actually, kind of, I guess, about the feeling and how the fans are feeling right now and what the atmosphere will be like with these new signings, unbeaten in pre-season. The new fancy training ground, of course, unveiled yesterday as well. Do you feel a different feeling from the fans this season, a bit of a clean slate almost, in these new big signings, particularly with this one today at this time of the season before it all kicks off next week against Arsenal? Things are feeling a little different.
It does, Hayley, because last year couldn't have got much worse in terms of where the club were at, where they finished the season, 15th in the Premier League, losing that European final against Tottenham, where really they didn't cause them all that many issues in terms of trying to break them down. But I think what Ruben Amorim and Manchester United have tried to do over this summer is just rebuild the club. I mean, you talk about the training ground reopening yesterday. That is a huge step. I mean, in the next few months, they're going to be relocating a lot of staff to the training ground because they want that to be the beating heart of the club, with a theatre of dreams behind me where they want this club to really be performing and picking up those vital results and being back to the pinnacle of, you know, English football essentially. But this feeling, I spoke to Diogo Dalot and Tom Heaton yesterday at the training ground, Hayley, and they both spoke about how this pre-season does feel different. It does feel more focused, more together, and that has to be down to a lot of Ruben Amorim, what Jason Wilcox and his team above have been able to do this summer. There's still work to do, though. Let's not forget, there's still some outgoings that they're going to have to sort out because there are players at the club. I had a tour of the training ground yesterday, Hayley, and there are still spots in that changing room for the likes of Jadon Sancho and Alejandro Garnacho, who we know aren't part of the first team picture going forward. So the focus will be on sales going forward. But on your point, it does feel like with the training ground refurbishment, with Sesko and Mbeumo, Cunha over the line, it does feel like there is positive feelings going into this season. But look, if in the first 10 minutes against Arsenal next weekend they concede a goal, that might all change. Of course it might. But at the moment, think the way I saw that team yesterday, full of smiles, positive energy, it feels like going into the season, United probably haven't felt as close-knit as they have in previous years.
Benjamin Sesko coming in, they still do need to make these sales before the end of the transfer window. That said, you mentioned close to £200 million being spent in this transfer window if and when Sesko's deal is confirmed. But are they stopping there?
Well, I don't think they will. I mean, I think the key for Manchester United is getting those players out, the ones you've mentioned. I think Marcus Rashford to Barcelona is a great move for him. It's wages as well. It's not just necessarily transfer fee, it's big wages they're on. What else do Manchester United do? When I look at Manchester United, I think brilliant. That new forward line, great. But then I look at the midfield. Needs a bit of a revamp. And obviously there's talk of interest in Carlos Belver in the midfield from Brighton. We know, as you've mentioned, interest in Donnarumma from PSG. We'll wait and see if that happens. I think that would be an upgrade on Onana. I'm sure that would be as well. So they still need to do business, Manchester United. However, you look at so many clubs and you think, are we ready for the start of the Premier League season? You'd say probably 18, 19 would say no. But are you ready for day one? They'll say, let's give it a go.
You say, let's give it a go. You talk about Belieber. I mean, there's one thing being interested in Carlos Belieber, but Brighton are fantastic sellers and they do not want to sell. They insist he's not for sale. He's still got 3 years left on his contract. He's got the option of a further year. Brighton are under no pressure at all to sell Carlos Belieber. But it is clear that Manchester United are not done in this transfer window. We'll be talking about United a little bit later on in the show, I'm sure. But another big story that is emerging this evening